little vial here? It's crack, rock cocaine, the most addictive form. You think it's the glamour drug of the 80s? Well, that's the point of this friendly little reminder. It can kill you.
Drugs are menacing our society. They're threatening our values and undercutting our institutions. They're killing our children.
Lord, don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help.
The NBA today is a dazzling showcase of athleticism and success, but beneath the surface of its early years lies a shocking, almost forgotten chapter, a chapter where the league teetered on the brink of collapse, not because of its on-court battles, but because of an unseen war raging off the court. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, cocaine wasn't just a problem for the country, it was consuming the NBA from the inside out. The numbers were staggering, the scandals were jaw-dropping, and the consequences devastating. At one point, the league was so toxic that fans, sponsors, and even players began walking away. How did things get this bad? And more importantly, how did the NBA survive? Stick with us because the twists and turns in this story will leave you speechless. The 1970s NBA looked nothing like today's glittering empire. Back then it was a struggling league, desperately fighting for relevance. Games were so unpopular that some weren't even broadcast live. They were aired on tape delay as if basketball didn't matter. But the real issue wasn't on the court. Behind the scenes, a storm was brewing. America was in the grips of a cocaine epidemic, and the NBA's young, wealthy athletes were perfect targets. Reports began to trickle in about players using the drug, but no one could have predicted just how deep the problem ran. By the end of the decade, those whispers would turn into screams. When the truth came out, it was worse than anyone imagined. By the late 1970s, insiders estimated that 75% of NBA players were using cocaine. This wasn't some tabloid exaggeration, this was reality. And it wasn't just rookies or bench warmers, superstars, players fans idolized were succumbing to addiction. David Thompson, nicknamed Skywalker for his incredible leaping ability, was supposed to be one of the greatest players of all time. Instead, his career spiraled out of control, derailed by cocaine use. Then there was Michael Ray Richardson, a three-time All-Star with boundless potential. Richardson famously warned about the league's downfall, saying, "The ship be sinking," but no one could have predicted just how far it would sink. Fans were growing uneasy and sponsors were pulling out. The NBA wasn't just losing games, it was losing its soul. The headlines only got worse. Arrests, suspensions, and overdoses began to dominate the news cycle. Every new scandal felt like a hammer blow to the league's credibility. And then came the bans. In 1983, Michael Ray Richardson was suspended indefinitely after failing multiple drug tests. The league's decision to permanently ban a rising star was unprecedented, and it sent shockwaves through the NBA. If this could happen to Richardson, who else was at risk? Sponsors began fleeing faster than ever. Ticket sales plummeted. Fans didn't just dislike the league, they distrusted it. The NBA, once a symbol of athletic excellence, had become a cautionary tale, but nothing prepared the league or the world for what happened in 1986.
The Boston Celtics select Len Bias of the University of Maryland.
There he is, Len Bias. Len was sitting by.
So now my dream has come true. All I have to do is go out and play, set some more goals.
Len Bias wasn't just any player, he was the player, the next big thing. Drafted number 2 overall by the Boston Celtics, some said he could rival Michael Jordan. Then the unthinkable happened. Just 2 days after the draft, Bias was dead. A cocaine overdose had taken his life, and the world was stunned. How could a player so full of promise, so close to greatness, fall so quickly? The NBA couldn't hide anymore. The death of Len Bias wasn't just a tragedy, it was a reckoning. In that moment, the league had a choice: continue down this self-destructive path or fight for its survival. The NBA chose to fight. In 1983, the league had introduced its first drug testing policy, but after Bias's death, they doubled down. No longer content with symbolic gestures, the NBA imposed strict penalties for drug use. David Stern, who became commissioner in 1984, took on the challenge head first. Stern knew the league was on the verge of collapse, and he wasn't afraid to make tough decisions. Players who failed tests were suspended. Repeat offenders faced lifetime bans, but Stern didn't stop there. He also introduced the rehabilitation programs, giving players the chance to recover instead of simply punishing them. The message was clear: the NBA wasn't just cleaning up its image, it was cleaning up its players. The league's efforts might have failed if not for a stroke of luck. The rise of a new generation of superstars, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, already captivating audiences with their rivalry, became the perfect faces for a reformed NBA. Then came Michael Jordan. In 1984 was nothing short of seismic. Jordan wasn't just a player, he was a phenomenon, a symbol of hope for a league desperate for redemption. With these stars leading the charge, the NBA began to regain the trust of fans. Television ratings soared, sponsors returned, the game was changing, and for the first time in years, the league felt like it had a future. Behind the scenes, David Stern was orchestrating a transformation. He didn't just want to save the NBA, he wanted to make it bigger than anyone had ever imagined. Stern struck lucrative TV deals, partnered with major sponsors, and expanded the league's reach internationally. But none of it would have been possible without the league's cultural shift. The NBA wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about stories, rivalries, and redemption. Fans weren't just watching games, they were watching a league come back from the dead. Even as the NBA entered a golden age, the scars of its drug era remained. Players like David Thompson and Michael Ray Richardson never fully recovered their careers. The tragedy of Len Bias served as a constant reminder of what the league had nearly lost, but there was also hope. The NBA's ability to confront its darkest moments and emerge stronger became a blueprint for other leagues facing similar crises. Its story wasn't just about survival, it was about transformation. The NBA's drug era was more than a scandal. It was a fight for the league's very existence. It's easy to forget now, in the age of billion-dollar deals and global superstars, just how close the league came to losing it all. But perhaps that's what makes the NBA's story so powerful. It didn't just bounce back, it came back stronger, using its darkest moments as a foundation for growth. Today, the league stands as a testament to resilience, proving that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, redemption is always possible. And while the NBA conquered its drug crisis, it's not the only challenge the league has faced. From labor disputes to social justice reckonings, the NBA has never stopped evolving. Who knows what the next chapter will bring? But one thing is certain, the NBA will always rise to meet the moment. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and check out some of my other content. Peace.